Emotions are vital to being human, providing information and motivating us to act. But sometimes, the emotions we experience don't seem to fit the situation, or they lead us to act in unhelpful or destructive ways. While all emotions are valid as feelings, their intensity or presence might not always match the objective reality of what's happening. In the Emotion Regulation module of Dialectical Behavior Therapy, or DBT, we learn skills to understand our emotions and change them when they are unwanted or ineffective. This video will focus on two powerful skills for changing unwanted emotions: checking the facts and taking the opposite action. It's important to note that the goal here isn't to suppress or deny your feelings. It's about recognizing when your emotional reaction might be based on an interpretation that isn't entirely accurate, or when the emotion leads you towards unhelpful behaviors. When your emotions do fit the facts, other skills like distress tolerance or problem solving might be more appropriate. But when it doesn't fit or is ineffective, these skills can help you shift your emotional response. The first skill is checking the facts. This is a crucial step in determining if your emotional reaction is justified by the objective reality of the situation. Emotions often arise from our thoughts and interpretations about an event, which isn't always the same as the facts of the event itself. To check the facts, become a detective investigating the situation. First, identify the prompting event. What happened before the emotion started? Second, identify your interpretations or thoughts about that event. What meaning are you making of it? What story are you telling yourself? Third, identify the actual objective facts. What could a neutral observer, someone with no emotional stake in the situation, see or hear? Fourth, compare the facts to your interpretation. What is the difference between what happened and what you thought it meant? Finally, ask yourself, does my emotional reaction and intensity match the objective facts? For example, if a friend walks by without saying hello, you might interpret this as them being angry at you and feel intense sadness or anxiety. Checking the facts would involve considering that they might not have seen you, been distracted, or been in a hurry. Suppose there's no other objective evidence that they are angry. Your intense sadness or anxiety might not fit the facts in that case. After checking the facts, if you determine that your emotion does not fit the facts or is ineffective, meaning it leads to unhelpful behaviors, the next skill to use is the opposite action. Opposite action involves acting the opposite of the action urge that comes with your emotion. Every emotion is linked to a biological urge to do something. When the emotion is unwarranted or ineffective, acting opposite to that urge can, over time, change the emotion itself. Let's look at some examples. If you check the facts and determine your intense fear when speaking in front of a small, friendly group doesn't fit the reality, you are safe, the group is supportive, the urge that comes with fear is often to avoid or run away. The opposite action would be to approach the situation safely, stay in the room, and engage with the group. If you feel intense anger because of a perceived slight that, upon checking the facts, didn't actually happen or was a misunderstanding, the urge with anger is often to attack or lash out. The opposite action would be to temporarily avoid the person or situation and, most importantly, to be kind, no attacking, either verbally or physically. If you feel overwhelming sadness and the urge to withdraw and isolate, but the sadness doesn't fit the current reality, perhaps it's residual from a past event or disproportionate to the current situation, the opposite action would be to get active and approach others. Suppose you feel unjustified shame about something you didn't do wrong, or shame that is disproportionate. In that case, the urge is to hide and avoid exposure. The opposite action is to expose yourself by telling a trusted person about the situation, being open rather than hiding. If you feel intense, unjustified guilt when you didn't actually do something wrong, or excessive guilt, the urge might be to apologize excessively or confess repeatedly. The opposite action is to make amends once, if appropriate, forgive yourself, and move on without dwelling on it. Checking the facts and opposite actions work hand in hand. You use checking the facts first to evaluate if changing the emotion is the skillful thing to do. If it is, you then use the opposite action by acting against the emotion's natural urge. It takes consistent practice of opposite action to see a change in the intensity or frequency of the unwanted emotion over time. These skills empower you to choose your response to emotions rather than being automatically driven by them. You gain greater control over your emotional reactions by learning to check the facts and act the opposite when needed. You can build more effective patterns of behavior. Thank you for exploring checking the facts and opposite action with us. These skills are powerful tools for changing unwanted emotions and building a life driven by intention, not just impulse.
I love you, Dad, Dad, Dad. I love my dad, Dad, Dad. I love you, Dad, Dad.